you so much, our able co-moderator and special she's on a very special assignment as far as today's luncheon is concerned, Era. I Paa-Kumi is a compassionate, passionate, humanitarian people person.
Oh, that was short. I'm sure they want to hear more.
Some people say he's unassuming. Yes, and very thoughtful and analytical. Sometimes a very slow decision maker. I think this will be enough.
Okay.
And selfless.
Is my audience okay with the summary? All right, then. Let's move to. Many people do write, but at what point or at what stage in your life did you realize that you want to be an author, that you want to actually write a book, or you want to, let's say, leave a legacy for the youth?
Well, I had the opportunity of an early exposure through the church system. I call it an ideal environment. This is a controlled environment whereby an individual is in charge of what he or she allows in and out. So by my first spiritual father is Reverend William Osusafo, happens to be the central AG, pastor in Akimodan. He brought a lot of speakers, Boniface, the Reverend B.C. Dems. Even so, at age 12, I had come to a point of self-awareness of my strength. And I was writing without even knowing. So I could write creative stories here and there. Some of my peers think that it was long overdue, that I should have maybe had some books by now. But I thought that the timing is right here. So it's something that has been nurtured. And let me also say that I am a believer of prophecies. There's been several prophetic utterances that comes to validate my passion and interest.
Let's talk about, I want to believe you had some challenges in trying to get this book published or outdoored as we are all sitting here today to see. Tell us or share with us some of the challenges you had so that if we have aspiring writers here, they should be prepared for what's ahead.
Oh, Era is putting me on the spot, but this cap will come over. The president said these two shall pass, so let me see. First of all, as far as March, and I had wanted to release this book at age 40. That was last year. I'm 4th August born. Unfortunately for me, I couldn't put the resources together and the logistics. So this year, beginning of the year, I was resolved that whatever come may be the situation, I have to step into the writing space. So I began in March, but the challenges was enormous. It was plenty to the extent that if I didn't have some sense of tenacity or staying power, I would have given up. I approached this writing, this very project, unconventionally. Normally, writers will tell you that finish everything, start the editing and all that. I was chapter by chapter, and the editing was going on at the same time. And then I realized that putting the event coordination together and also following the manuscript to make sure that the content that goes in the public space was a double agony. I was, however, blessed that the resource I have, Pali, CMC, friends from CMC, including your good self, were all available to help me. What was even more amazing is that members of the Pali Eminent Advisory Council, Professor Dankwa right here, the former MD of Car Bank, he wished to have been here, but for some other assignments, Mr. Frank Edu Jr., Mr. Daniel Fori Dankwa, Mama Janet Adama Mohammed, they all at a point had to come in just to make sure Mrs. Amankwa writes here. Just to make sure that we streamline and make sure that the content that is going is of international standard. I was blessed. Bishop Boniface read cover to cover. And all the father figures made a significant contribution to this book.
So let's go to, I've been here for a while. I've heard the title of the book being said over and over again. Let's go to the title. Why Strong City? Why Strong City Effect?
Wow, I took inspiration from Proverbs 10:15, and that's the scripture says that a rich man's wealth is in his fortified city or strong city. This is a message I preached when I was a missionary, or let's say a lay pastor or something with those days. And the essence of it is that I have realized that individuals, there are people who are at their super performing, peak performing rate. Evander Holyfield, Mayweather, name it. And I asked a very critical question. Is it that they are superhuman beings? Are they more endowed than, some of us, or all of us, or the critical mass? Then something struck me, an inspiration dropped on me, that there's something they are doing right. And one of the common denominator is that they have located their area of strength. I have declined some media interviews just because if I had gone, I would have made a mess of myself. It was the place that I will run from is where I will expose my weakness big time. So I think that many people, many nations, including our own country, Ghana, have not discovered and not seems to work on their strong city. And that is why, if you check the less endowed countries or the developed world and the undeveloped world, you realize that they are on a high peak of their competitive advantage. The world we find ourselves in a very competitive stage, be it even in the religious or faith community. Everything is kind of, so you can only stand out when you have a competitive advantage in the contest. And I therefore thought that my first message to the world is that let's look inward. We could be looking for solutions from afar, but let's look inward and do a soul searching and see that as far as the many potential that I have, what is the one that can sell me most? That is why the strong city is being birthed today.
Please give him a round of applause. It's quite amazing. I hear you quoting Bibles, but when you were describing yourself in 5 sentences, I didn't hear you say you're a Christian.
It's interesting. Bishop Boniface, in his endorsement, said Frank didn't compromise his Christian values, yet he made sure that the book is well appealed to the corporate arena and even non-Christians, okay?
Well, for anybody or to the youth or any young person who picks the book today to read, what should the person take home?
Wow, this is a good question. Well, what I'm seeking to achieve with this book is that Session 1 is dealing with self-awareness. As you begin to read the book, it becomes a mirror. And you begin to ask some internal critical questions. If you have already solved the problem of self-awareness, it reinforces it for you. If you are lost, it gives you a roadmap. Session 2 is dealing with the strong city factor. That's where I delve into the strong city, and I give practical examples of individuals whom I think have discovered their strong city. And then we give, again, a roadmap or a practical life application on how do you discover your own strong city. Session 3 is dealing with limitation. Of course, everybody has strengths. Directly opposite to your strength is your limitation or your weaknesses, okay? And you need to recognize it. Some authors, some motivational speakers, in fact, some preachers even think that we have to forget about our limitation. I beg to differ. You got to recognize it. If you neglect it, it doesn't write it off. When you recognize it with a foreknowledge, then it makes you to position yourself. So I use a Zacchaeus story that Bible said he was short. In the 21st century, we don't say somebody is short. We say the person is vertically challenged. So Zacchaeus was vertically challenged, but he devised a strategy. Out of limitation, a nation, an individual, an institution should devise a strategy. Session 4 is dealing about self-empowerment, where I think that You don't need to have PhD to be successful. You could do self-reading. You could read outside your textbook, just to accumulate. And I give example of Kweku Baku Jr., who is a masterpiece of journalism, even though when Prof. Stephen Adair led Gempa, gave our senior brother scholarship to go and study public administration free. Kweku Baku abandoned it, he couldn't continue, but he's still what he is. Then finally, execution. I give the Cedar story. If you take a copy of the book, I give the Cedar story. The Cedar story is that within 10 years of the lifespan of the church, graciously, from a rooftop of a restaurant to an edifice, at America House, then to this city. Okay, this has been achieved with 10 years. When even the theologians will tell you that in church growth, the first 5 years, the first 10 years is, experimentation and all that. Cedar has been able to do that. And the vision bearer is right here. Let's show him some love again, Reverend Dr. Steve Wingham. So if you grab the book, you're going to find a lot of practical applications. I didn't want to be the writer, that kind of writer that is pinpointing things that he or she had never experienced. You see the author in the story. And this is what is unique about the book.
So I have last 2 questions to go, but then again, let's give a round of applause for the Cedar story, a story I'm proud to be associated with. So basically, Pali, I understand Pali is also 16 years.
Wow.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you, Era.
Please mention at least 2 significant achievements Pali has done for the contribution of development in Ghana.
Wonderful. I had no messages, but let me try. We are a talent development and public policy influencing entity. I granted an interview to Daily Graphic this week, and I was telling Daily Graphic that in the policy space, Pali had made a significant policy proposal to government of Ghana to consider. And this is we are asking government to set up a Citizens Complaint Commission. What the Citizens Complaint Commission does is that if you go to a health facility, if the military, if the security, out of professional misconduct or negligence, injured an individual, a citizenry, as a citizen now, you have only one option, to go to the court. Now, if you are not a litigant, what do? There should be an appellate body that a Ghanaian citizen can walk in and make their reports and have a proper investigation. So in the policy space, I have done a lot of public opinion. I've been on TV3, or Pali has been on TV3, News 360 Degrees. We've been on Talking Point, a lot of public engagement on policy awareness. Now, in talent development, we have a number of individuals. I met a lady, Linda Mamley. She was doing her diploma. She was doing remedial. She had diploma in public administration and was doing remedial. The remedial, I asked myself, what exactly was she redeeming? Now, when Pali came into the scene, Linda was the first secretary. When Pali came into the scene, Canadian government was awarding a scholarship to civil society and volunteers of NGOs. We facilitated it for Linda. Long story short, or short story long, Gempa sponsored. Linda went to Gempa by sponsorship from Canadian government. I can pinpoint a lady, Joanna Dogbe, went to Europe in 2015 as Ghana's youth ambassador for IDEA International. And these are some of the pointers of our community impact.
Please, let's give him a round of applause. Well, my final question, your last advice to many, I think this question is based on the fact that I've always been an advocate that we have great people in our society, but they end up not leaving a memoir or a legacy, what I call a legacy for people to read. So your advice to the many intelligent, influential people present here who want to, that they in the essence of leaving a legacy.
Wow. It's interesting that Pali is kind of amplifying the essence of legacy-centered leadership, especially in the Africa space. that somebody once has said that you leave a name and a mark on earth so that even years after you have gone, history will record and say, in his time. I would advise that we do not have the luxury of time. It's just unfortunate that the godfather of the 92 Constitution, Papa J, may his soul rest in peace, on the verge of about to release his book, Papa J is gone. So we don't have the luxury of time. Let us seize the iron while it is hot. And Pali is coming with an initiative. From the 16 years going, we are launching or we are setting up what we call intergenerational dialogue to bring achievers, somebody like Dr. Ibn Chambers, fantastic diplomat, Ghanaian diplomat. He has served Ghana a lot. We want to bring Dr. Chambers in October and bring about critical mass youth of over 1,000 for DOC to relay, and so that those who have aspiration for diplomacy and international affairs would learn from Dr. Chambers. You see, so this is some of the things that we are doing as a development institute to promote and pass on the baton of knowledge to the next generation.
Another round of applause will do. Thank you so much for the interview. Congrats again on 16 years of Pali. Happy birthday, and God bless you for leaving a legacy for the youth. Thank you all.
Thank you, Era. Thank you for Era did the manuscript proofreading. Let's show her some love.